I started writing, and I've got something like past 17 chapters, and it was a way for me to kind of help myself figure it out, basically. I've always thought, this is to NewtoChrist, but it's public, it's for everybody. If you haven't gone on NewtoChrist channel, check his channel out. It's very much worth it. He's talking about a lot of information. Maybe just even the talks that we do might fill in some gaps for you of where we're both coming from, that are up on his channel. You know, I should probably go and add them as likes or favorites, and so you guys can see them. But anyways, this is to NewtoChrist. I've always been interested in, and this is everybody out there, about the Dark Ages, of what the hell is it like, of these alien people, these Germans, the Franks and the Saxons, and the people living, the Celts living in these areas where they just see the world corroding around them. And then you have this second and third generation of people living among basically like alien, I mean, it's like Planet of the Apes, for God's sakes. They're living among these aqueducts that they can't even, they're building out of wood and mud and stacking uncut stones on top of each other. And they're looking around at these magnificent churches, which are basically all gone. I mean, now we have these weird cathedrals and the Gothic types. That's not what it looked like. Stuff that was in Israel at the time. I mean, it was really, imagine that, in Britain and in France and on the Rhine, churches that looked like they should be in Damascus, basically. And then people stumbling across Mithraeums and seeing these aqueducts, and what the hell is this from? Looking at the Islamic record, looking at what it gets found in archaeology, looking at the numismatic evidence, and then looking at the external references, I cannot freaking get them to match up. One tells a story of a Christian empire, of a forgotten, of Syrian Christian empire that was a breakaway, kind of, or I almost want to think it's the Vandals or the Huns that have just came across, and basically the Vandals, these Germanic tribes, that they're in the right space of time, just kept going across North Africa and took over. But then you have the Lackmans and the Gassanids. Well, they were said to, I mean, there's so many weird stories. But then you get to the writings of people, and they're saying these people are Jews, these people are destroying churches, these people are slaughtering, erasing villages, erasing cities. They destroyed the church at Nea. They massacre everyone. And they're not attacking any fortified cities. Jerusalem's standing there, and Sophronius is bitching about, we can't go to Jerusalem. They're slaughtering all the Christians in Jerusalem. They'll kill any pilgrims that go down there. They desecrate the church. And then they'll build a nice building. We dedicate these baths. I mean, again, I can't believe that all these people are lying. Even the ones that are trying to be sympathetic of them. What is it? John of Niku or Ed Anam. We have to give them half our stuff, but, you know, turn the other cheek. And if your brother asks you, these are not friendly people. I actually remember being told that Sophronius welcomed Abu Bakr, or some bishop of frickin' Jerusalem. Welcomed Abu Bakr, and, oh, pray at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Oh, I'm not going to pray here because it can be taken away from you. Or maybe it was Bethlehem or something like that. Whoa, no. And they're Saracens, they're Hagarians, they're Ishmaelites, they're these people. They're just these pirates, these scum. It's like three different worlds. It's like different dimension. It's bizarro world from each one. Every day. Was Muawiyah the successor of Heraclius? I actually came to that conclusion. Because it's weird. Reading the church fathers, you can already imply all this crap. Because it's the same damn conversation. It's like when the Romans split the empire. I mean, before I even read any of this stuff, I'm like, oh, Muawiyah was given that over. That's obvious. By the time I actually go and find out that Olaf guy or Luxembourg or Klong or whatever the guy, I read it in there and I'm like, oh, as soon as I came across it, that didn't happen. Wait a minute, I was just thinking that happened for weeks. I thought I was smarter than everybody else because I got to that conclusion before I heard a scholar say it. Well, now with all this crap, what the hell am I? There's even trying to think, okay, what these invaders are coming over here and they're there. But there's these coins going out there with these crosses on them. They're defiling Christian places of worship. And it's not specific. Even trying to imagine their form of Christianity, right? It's still, it implies a world that is just too bizarre. It's too bizarre. Again, in one of my videos, I am hating this little weird spike of hair that's sticking up. It's pissing me off. The world that is suggested by all the evidence, but if we just had the coins, I'd be satisfied. If we just had the external writings, I'd be satisfied. Even if we only had, here's the solution, there it is. Even if we only had just the bits and pieces of the archaeological, the scrap of paper that's a receipt for the animals taken and stuff like that, I'd be satisfied. All this stuff together, happening at the same damn time. That's why I need to talk to other people who've read the same stuff. I have read too much. Curiosity killed more than the cat. It's killed my brain. And then when I hear people who spout things like Gibbon, Islam was born in the full light of history, unlike Christianity. What effing planet are you on? Do you always go back 300 years to get the latest cutting-edge technology? Why don't you put some leeches on your arms and believe that the moon is made out of green cheese? Because none of that... And then reading, even going through the Quran, saying, okay, even if it's... I'm just going to go through it in its final stage. Whoever Mamun or whoever had this in this state, and it's still a Christian document. It's Christian, and it's not even trying to be in Mecca. It's not. There's no attempt to make it there. I cannot accept... Oh, this surah was early. No, it was really early. Or not surah, sunnah, or hadith. I reject every last one of them because they do not... There is... As if... All of these three areas are odd enough as it is. Putting that in there... That looks like a romantic... any of even the... Oh, this is very early. This is from Al-Walid. It still looks like a romanticizing from Crusader times. It looks like Crusader times romanticizing back. It's just like when you look at the oil paintings done in the 15th century of Jesus and Mary and John the Baptist. They're all pale white. They're wearing clothes of the late Renaissance. You know, the Theotokos is in a dress and she's got streaky blonde hair and a flat, ugly pan face, white, and, you know, and there's rocks and it looks like France in the background. At least with this, they were copying down the same damn thing. And yeah, they would wear clothes like that, and it's kind of how it was, and the buildings were weird looking. You know, even if it's the perspective's all stretched and the perspective's actually supposed to be, you know, 2 feet in front of it. It's still, yeah, that kind of, and that's the kind of artwork that the, you know, primitive church was doing or whatever. And I don't mean primitive in a bad way. I just mean original. You know, hiding in underground. That's why I really don't care for stuff like that. It's too much like the later stuff. At least that's harkening back. But even these supposedly early hadith, they sound like stuff from 900, 1000, harkening back. Oh yeah, that's what it was like, and talking anachronistically about it. It's like the damn Gospel of Barnabas. It's just too. I gotta go through and reread the Gospel of Barnabas, because people try to say, oh, it was written in Andalusia in the 700. No, what I mean, that even for the first time I thought maybe this is probably 1300s, if not 1600. There's something with this. And how do we know we have that same document? I mean, how many of these things exist? It's a present day. And what changes were made? Because we know the Muslims, they never changed any of their, they never edited any of their history. They preserve. But, I mean, I'm almost cracking up going insane because there's nothing. Not that there's nothing. There's just enough evidence to show you it wasn't like that. And then there's just enough evidence in another form to show you, oh no, it wasn't like that either. You go, well, it's obviously, and then, you know, it's like a one of those Trump, wah, wah, wah. No, it wasn't like that either. Well, what am I left with? I'm left with this well-organized Christian empire that nobody knew about, and there were marauders everywhere. And nobody seems to be, it's ghosts. It's ghosts running through I mean, basically, it's unidentifiable people just slaughtering people. But on the same time, you have just oh yeah, hey, we're just, you know, your regular old, you know, heretical Christian empire just sitting right here, and everybody just accuses us of being barbarians and everything, but we got trade going on and all this stuff, and everybody's all offended at us, but they have to deal with us for everything. And then at a certain tick of the clock, at a certain timer, people go batshit insane, which I guess we'd have to put that at Mamoon, and basically try to lock up the rest of Europe and tries to get in there, but they're fought off. Basically, what was that, 750? They're kicked back out. These are no longer, oh, we're protecting the Christians. These are, we're going to attack them. There was. And the fact that the pilgrimage to Mecca was started by a Tibetan Buddhist woman, or a woman who was influenced from Tibetan Buddhism, something goes psychotic. I think the world was traumatized by something that even the enemies said, hey, Muhammad, Islam, Abu Bakr, Caliph, fine. That makes more sense than what actually happened for the last few hundred years. That's almost... Tell me if you're this frustrated as well, NewtoChrist. Because I almost don't want to read anything anymore. I'll read voraciously, but it doesn't... the world of the 7th and 8th centuries looks weirder and weirder and weirder. And it makes Europe at this time look organized. It makes the frickin' Franks look like the Egyptian Empire or something. I mean, it's just so crazy. It's lunacy. Maybe I'm just stupid. I hope I am, and I hope you can clear this up for me, because there's too much of things that seem to be diametric. They can't both be happening at the same time. It's just too weird of a world from what the evidence that I'm seeing. And I've got a lot of the same sources as you do. Hell, I permanently have on here the external references to Islam, starting from Doctrina Jacobi, going all the way down to John of Damascus and further. okay, but at least by John Damascus, we have some form of rule, but that's... How did they forget so fast? What?